Welcome back, friends, to Trading 360. I'm Nicole Petalides. Time for Disruptors. George Tsilis is with us, senior markets correspondent, taking a look here at First Solar. Has an up arrow, had some mixed earnings, and some better than, I guess, good guidance, right? I'd like to hear what you thought about this report and your outlook as it's at 147 today.
Yeah, I mean, overall, the report, I'm going to call it balanced. If you look at the total sales for the business, it grew about 16% to 1.16 billion, but they did miss by 160 million. But our earnings actually grew significantly. If you look at $3.25 a share, it beat the estimates at $3.13. But if you go back 4 quarters to the same quarter last year, they actually lost 7 cents. So there was a tremendous increase in earnings per share for the name. And the other thing is, the reason I call it mixed is because if you look at the forward guidance for earnings, prior to the announcement, they were expecting around $13.13, but now it's around $13.50 at the midpoint for all of 2024. And I suggest, that's part and parcel of one of the reasons why a lot of the analysts are starting to revalue First Solar. One of the things that we have to consider is where does it apply this technologies into? I think the solar arrays that are going into, or residential solar companies, those are the companies that seem to have actually fared poorly in the past year. First Solar hasn't done all that well. It's actually down about 11%. But if you look at the makeup of their business, it's actually mostly in the commercial side, utilities, solar arrays, and solar farms, which essentially don't necessarily have the sensitivity to consumer discretionary items, particularly in the household level when it costs very much to install residential solar. So I think there's been quite a divergence for the more utility and industrial customers that essentially First Solar sells into versus residential. And that's, I think, one of the reasons why it's actually held up quite well over the last year.
All right. Well, George has covered First Solar for us many times. We see it up about 2% today. 1 year down 11%. Year to date down 14%. He talked about obviously some of the unevenness that we've seen in this name, but again, mixed earnings, and predicts a better year ahead for First Solar. Thank you, George Tsilis.